Thank you and good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
The blessing last Wednesday is we don't have to play Ateneo and get beat by them. So God is good. Today, I'll be talking about guidelines in business dealings amongst the members of BCBP. Nauna na si Ray, so he took a part already of my talk, so that's good. So today, I would like to explain these guidelines and procedures in working out conflicts that also arise from it. Okay. There it is, yeah. There is nothing wrong with having business dealings. We are all businessmen and professionals here. Unfortunately, in a community, this is where also our enemy comes in and tries to disrupt the community sometimes. And through these problems in the business dealings. So the BCBP has set up these guidelines that will be used when there will be problems encountered in any business dealings amongst its members. And then the second part will be the how to work out the conflicts between the members. So I'd like to start my talk with a Bible verse. This is from Acts chapter 4, verse 32. And it explains how the early communities functioned right after the Pentecost. And I read, the whole community of believers was one in heart and mind. No one claimed private ownership of any possessions, but rather they shared all things in common. With great power, the apostles bore witness to the resurrection of Jesus Christ, for all of them were living in an exceptional time of grace. There was no needy person among them, for those who owned land or houses sold them and brought the proceeds of the sale. And they laid it at the feet of the apostles, who distributed it according to each one's needs. I'm not saying that we'll all sell our properties now and divide it amongst us now. But it is the heart of the community. We are one. We are one in mind. We are one in heart. And we are one community in the body of Jesus Christ. So we have to help each other. And it is in this light that should prevail when we have business dealings amongst each other. So here's the paradigm shift. The left side is the business world today. And we're shifting it to God's principles in a community. So the business today, what? We're results oriented. It's all about gains. It's all about making more money. It's all about being the number one guy in the corporation, success. And you see the last one? Achieve the goal regardless of the means. That's the deadly one. And then we shift to our community, God's principles. We are here as servants. We serve each other, and we serve each other for the Lord. And we serve the Lord primarily for His purpose. So, what can I give? So, work to please God first and people next. You see, leadership is to be a servant, for the Lord says, the one who is last will be first, and the one who is first will be last. And then you have long-term legacy, and most importantly, doing the right thing. just to review, I'm sure you all know this, the core values of the BCBP, primarily love of God, love for family, love for community and country, and commitment to the Lord's work. That last one is our mission here in BCBP. So we go now to the guidelines. The basic guidelines is commitment to love and serve takes precedence over the pursuit of profit or economic gain. So as you remember when I read from the verses earlier, everybody will help everybody in need, and everybody should help the community. Then commitment to help others. In 1 Peter chapter 1:22, having purified your souls by your obedience to the truth for a sincere brotherly love, love one another earnestly from a pure heart. So again, this is our the basis of how we will act here in our community. Righteousness. All our business dealings are to be conducted in a righteous and just way. And in Luke 16, verse 13, you cannot serve God and money. And you can see in Proverbs 6:8, better is a little with righteousness than greater revenues with injustice. So the word righteousness, and you know, at this point of the CLP and your stage now in the teachings, righteousness is a very important part of Christian living. And then stewardship, as Brother Ray explained, we are stewards of the talent and resources entrusted to us by the Lord. In Greenbelt Chapel, our chaplain, he tells all of us, everything is grace. From the time we wake up to everything we do during the day and everything we get in the future. Everything comes from God. So I think this is where the businessman and the God's principles will have some sort of problems. Because basically, before I joined the community, my success in business was my success. I had money because I earned it. It was all an I. So now, it's a change. That's the paradigm shift. Everything we have comes from God. So in Luke 19, but I tell you that to everyone who has, more shall be given, but for the one who has not, even what he has will be taken away. That was the parable of the tenants, or the three servants of this king. One kept the money and didn't do anything about it because he knew if he lost it, the king will get mad at him. So he just put it on the side. The other two used it so that it would gain more, and God was happy. The king was happier with them. So, business dealings with members should therefore be shared with their community leaders for information and guidance. In Hebrews 13:7, obey your leaders and submit to them, for they are keeping watch over your souls as those who will have to give an account. Let them do this with joy and not with groaning, for that would be no advantage to you. This is the wisdom of this guidance. When you will enter into any, whether it's small, big, or very big business relationships, it might be good to call on a senior leader of the community to explain that between the two of you, you'll be entering into some joint venture. So the reason here being, if there's something that you didn't see, the leader might be able to see it and probably guide you. It's all about guidance. In my case, I've learned that prayer first, because it's easy to be lured by money, to have you're gonna make a lot of money on this deal, but sometimes it's also gonna be your road to perdition. So for me personally, I pray about it, and I'm not in a hurry to see what happens with that venture or that business transaction. It is a wise policy for the leaders to generally inhibit themselves from entering into business with any of the members under their care. Yes, this can happen simply because I'm the boss, in a way, that I'm the leader, whether action group leader, and I have a member that I want to do business with, so I try to entice him, let's go together, let's do the business. But if anything goes wrong with it, then it will be even a bigger problem for the leader. In 1 Peter chapter 5, you are shepherds of the flock of God. Your main purpose is not to do business with your members of the action group or unit. You're there to shepherd everybody. That's the bigger business. And that's the bigger return that you will have. Here, this is also very important. To be open to your spouse on all your dealings. This is very important because anything goes wrong, the Tita Melio. Don't surprise your spouse with a problem in the future. So husbands are to be open to their wives in whatever business deal they may be involved in. And a wife is to secure her husband's approval before entering into any business relationship. Again, this is important because sometimes you don't see. You're always looking at, no, this is a good business because you make a lot of money. It's the trend now. But sometimes your spouse will see something like, yeah, really? But maybe you should look at, things like that. And it's good to discuss because then later on, you avoid being very fast in acting, or impulsive is the word. And then speech. I think you had one of the talk about speech and, chismis. Or, when there is already a problem between some members in the community, and suddenly some people will talk about it, that's one. But the more important one is, when there's a problem between members, there is a tendency for one or both to right away go around the community and explain, no, this is what happened there. It's not my fault. So the guidance here really is, before you go around and trying to explain your side to everybody who doesn't know maybe in the first place that you have a problem, is really to talk to your leader. That's always the default. Talk to your action group leader. If it's a bigger problem, probably raise it up with the unit leader or eventually the chapter head. Do not go around saying that, hey, kasi this brother, dinaya ko eh. Dapat hindi nangyari yan. So there's things like that. We have to avoid that because then it disrupts the flow of the spirit in the community. Openness and full disclosure. Once you have the problem out in the open, full disclosure must be made regarding all facts and circumstances surrounding in connection with the business transaction. There is always a tendency, I've had my own share of business sour business relationships, there's always a tendency to see your side, not the other side. So your side obviously will be biased. So when you talk about it, you hide a lot of the other details. But here, and if the chapter head or the unit leader, being an independent person, he will probably be in a better position to guide you, so long as you open and give full disclosure of all the facts of the situation. It may give rise to possible conflict of interest, may cause any undue influence, or may impair the objectivity or impartiality of one's judgment or decision on any business matter. Okay. So the first part is having the right steps and guidance before entering into any business transaction amongst us members here at the BCBP. And it's really the interest there is to protect everybody, not only the businessmen who are gonna get into to protect the community, because anytime something goes wrong amongst a few, you know, it disrupts the community in a big time way as well. So what do we do when there are conflicts? We are duty-bound to exert every effort to resolve any conflict or misunderstanding in an amicable manner in order. So to preserve loving personal relationships and to prevent harm or injury to the body, as I explained. If the controversy cannot be resolved by the members involved, the dispute will be elevated to the action group leader, primarily, and then next to the unit leader, and finally to the governance, with the chapter head in place. This is always a last resort. And even outside of the community, you never want to get into court litigation. Not only is it expensive, pero pag natalo ka, ano pa? Diba? Okay, this is the last part of the talk. I'd just like to add, I did have a problem before in the chapter with some brothers, and at first I thought it was nothing, but eventually I realized it was something that was pretty serious, and it followed those steps. It went all the way up to the chapter head. But aside from listening and discussing it with the chapter head, I did an extra mile, which is I prayed. I said, whatever decision is there, it's okay. But Lord, tell me what I have to do. And so, what happened? The Lord answered me and said, you let go. So I let go of the business transaction I had outside, which was disturbing my brothers in the community. That would have been a good money maker for me, but at the end, that's the message I got from God, so I let it go. And of course, more importantly, I apologized, because then letting go is not enough. Because I have hurt them, I also apologize for it. So these are the various things that you can enter into. We all know them already. Forming corporations, partnerships, joint ventures, etc. Supplier, professional, we all know that. In Corinthians chapter 8, I do not mean that others should be eased a new burden, but that as a matter of fairness, your abundance should supply their need, so that their abundance shall supply your need, that there may be fairness. And in Galatians, so then, as we have opportunity, let us do good to everyone, especially to those who are of the household of faith. Fairness, you heard it earlier, righteousness and fairness. So hindi pwede yung kung tawag natin kulangan, which is very, it happens between two very good businessmen. There's always a little bit of tendency to get more from the other than meets the eye. But here we are in a community and our God is fair, so let us be fair to each other. Employer and employee. In 1 Timothy chapter 6, those who have believing masters must not be disrespectful on the ground that they are brothers. Rather, they must serve all the better, since those who benefit by their good service are believers and beloved. We are all one in the eyes of God. In a community, meron din yung the boss came in, then he brings in all his subordinates. One by one, sige, join BCBP. And sometimes, nasa community na, nandun pa rin yung bossing, them being a boss. So they also impose on their members, other members in the company, like, you better be in breakfast or else. So here in the community, outside can be your boss, but here we're all the same level. In the eyes of God, we are one and the same. One family, one heart. And then, this one, borrower and lender. This one, I think, is very prevalent in any community, whether, and that's why I read Acts, first of all. If we have brothers and sisters in need, let us help them without a burden. Burden meaning, you need money, sige, eto, pero you have to pay me back at saka 5% dyan. Something like that. So that's why I talked about the early communities, because that's how it is. We have to help each other out. If the problem is very big, give it to the chapter head. No, but you can always guide the person. I also will share a little bit. I've had my times where I was really down and out before I joined BCBP. After BCBP, there are still times when you're lower than low. But the thing now is, I don't worry about it, because I believe you take care of it in its time. So that's the difference. When I was in the community, I do everything to borrow money, to pay this bill, to pay that bill. And that's where you get into even more trouble because you're borrowing. So really, it is better to seek the help of the senior leaders so that you'll be guided on what to do. So as much as possible, borrowing is not really, for me personally, borrowing is that's the enemy's instrument to get you into hot water. And then broker client, stock exchange, insurance, client relationship. So in Romans 13, owe no one anything except to love each other, for the one who loves another has fulfilled the law. Again, it's all about loving each other. So we're there for everybody. We're there for you. I have a problem. You have the community to go to. And I'm sure you will get God's answer to your prayers through that. So I'd like to end on the note that BCBP is a loving community, but rooted on prayer. And I would like to say that in all business dealings, whether in the community or outside, prayer. I've learned that it's better to pray Wait for it, wait for a direction from God before just entering into any kind of business relationship. And so far, it has worked for me. So thank you, brothers, for giving me this time. To be here. I'm glad to see my brother in England is here. Yeah. And thank you, Brother Nolan. Yung last minute na yan, at first I wanted to, wow, I cannot prepare this in 2 days. But then I said, this is a call, so I took the call. And I said yes to Brother Nolan.
Thank you, Bronny. Thank you for taking the call. And in spite, I can still feel your heart up to this time. And with that, I would like to just give this to you from the chapter. Thank you, Bronny. Very important, very valuable, and practical talk.